Good evening, you're watching Social Network on NDTV 24/7. I'm Kajari Sen, and over the next half an hour, we're going to be talking about what's making social media at the moment and what social media is making, because IPL and social media seem to now be inextricably intertwined, with Pepsi, Vodafone, many other big brands getting onto Facebook, Twitter and Google Plus to really push for the IPL. But we're going to be talking about that a little later on the show. Right now, we're going to be talking about one of the top trends on Twitter, and that is Slapgate, or should we now call it Elbowgate. Sreesanth on Twitter, and what we saw was a rant, and he took to Twitter to talk about an incident which happened 5 years ago. And we've had a host of responses about whether he should have done it, he shouldn't have done it. And really, it's a debate that we need to break down. What is the kind of responsibility that sports figures have when they take to social media, or do they have any responsibility? Because at the end of the day, they're voicing their own opinions. Joining us to discuss this here in studio, Gaurav Sethi, member of the board, Cricket Crazy Indians. Also joining us on Skype, cricket blogger Anupam Mukherjee. Thank you, both of you, for speaking with us on the social network. Now, first of all, I think the basic question when it comes to Sreesanth is, 5 years ago, in fact, at a point when Sreesanth didn't even have a Twitter handle, an incident happened. The incident happened, Gaurav, and he was penalized for it. Harbhajan Singh, was penalized for it. He was suspended for the season. Why is he bringing it up now in social media? Is he trying to make an emotional appeal to his fans, who are clearly the people who will be subscribing to his Twitter account?
For one, I feel really bad that he had to wait for 5 years if he was doing on something like this. Just imagine, for 5 years you have this and it's blowing your head apart and you keep thinking about it. That is, if I give Sreesanth the benefit of doubt. Now, say we do give him the benefit of doubt, so it's quite a bad place to be in, where you say you cannot say all that you have finally said. Now, let's take it that we believe in what he has said. One, I say it's very good that he does read the newspaper. That is something that we can go with. Secondly, when he did take off, it just seems like a reaction to what he read. Now, you usually have a lot of people who would be advising sports persons such as Sreesanth. Now, I don't know if there was any advice that came through this time. He just read and he reacted. There was some trigger which just went off, So you have a very crazy rant, really, which is, you really can't tell what he's saying at times.
No.
Because it's not so coherent either, but he seems wronged in it. Now, if someone is so wronged, you tend to believe that, yes, it's not just, it's
something
very
which
emotional.
Clearly is festering, yes.
Yeah, that he's been doing it, on it for so long. What he also did say were a lot of things that weren't contested earlier. One was that he wasn't slapped. Now, everyone thought it was a given that he was slapped. That is the last thing you really did think.
You had an inquiry into it.
Yeah, you did. So you start thinking, what was that inquiry about? Did they hush a lot of stuff? You have to question that. There hasn't been an apology from Sreesanth. Usually on Twitter, the first thing that does happen is, if you have a rant, like you did with Suresh Raina sometime back, a nephew surfaced. Sreesanth's nephew, niece, no one has surfaced so far.
Jokes about the nephew, niece have surfaced.
I've just been checking his account repeatedly. There hasn't been anyone who has tweeted contrary to that, from whether it's his management, whether it is Sreesanth. So I give him the benefit of doubt there. That is, something that he's just sat on, stewed, and it just burst today morning. And it seemed like a fairly innocuous article. Now, I can think of a lot of articles where they talked about Slapgate. Everyone on Twitter, the moment Sreesanth comes on Twitter, there are a lot of people I follow, including me, we say, oh, there comes Sreesanth. And I end up sharing a lot of old cartoons of Sreesanth. I did that today as well. And it's just that Sreesanth has this split image. At the same time, when I do feel sorry for the player as what he's been through, he also is an easy target for pretty much everyone, easy target for jokes as well.
Right, so let's now take this into, let's take what Gaurav was saying there, Anupam, and throw it over to you, which is that he seemed to have exploded. Like, clearly for 5 years, this was frustration that had built up. And there was a tweet which said, if he had written maybe a 400 considered blog post, then 400 word considered blog post, maybe the response to it would have been a different one, rather than what did come across as an incoherent rant on Twitter. Maybe not tweeting the most responsibly?
Well, as they say, you should never tweet when you are drunk, hungover, or not sure about what you want to tweet. So especially on stuff like this, it really looked like his mind was not in the right place. He just went on and on and on, saying the same thing again and again using really bad language, in sense bad English, bad grammar. And on the whole, I think he made a fool of himself again. Now, the thing is, nobody really cares whether Harbhajan slapped him or elbowed him or kicked him. I think the main thing is that Harbhajan did something because of which he was crying in full view of the world. And is he saying that he didn't cry, or did he have a toothache, or what was it that he was suffering from that made him cry, weep inconsolably in full view of the world 5 years ago? Fact is that Harbhajan did something and he cried. It could be a slap or whatever. It's really a matter of, it doesn't concern what it was, but something happened and move on. I mean, end of story. Why do you want to like dig up old graves and let skeletons pop out of the closet?